The story of Halo isn't really the story of the Spartans and the war with the Covenant. Neither is it really the story of humanity venturing into space, or the desire to war with each other. Similar to Mass Effect, this epic tale dates back millions of years before even a protagonist emerges. A story punctured by wars, egos, crucial alliances, betrayals, and survival. All these events converging to this very moment, to this scene. So let me not waste your time. Let's talk about the events that led to the present day. Let's talk about the events that led to Halo Infinite, that led to this. Over 10 million years ago, the precursors emerged, and you might consider them the first true apex race. But they were more than that. They were the creators of life. They were the creators of you and everything that this galaxy contains, and maybe other races that were lost, destroyed, or yet to be encountered. They also didn't just stand idly by. They were the galaxy's guardians. But thousands of years of watching and protecting was never going to last forever. A successor had to be named. Another race had to take their place and inherit the mantle of guardianship for all life. And this came down to two creations, the Forerunners and humanity. The two most advanced civilizations in the galaxy below the precursors. Now, no one actually knows the tests or achievements that was needed, or if a race was just judged as a group, but it was the Forerunners that was gifted this mantle, or chosen I should say, to lead and protect, not the humans. Now the question you may have is, where were the humans when all this was happening? They were around but not prominent. They only really became dominant in the later years. So as far as they were concerned, maybe the precursors were just elusive gods or myths. But regardless of the Forerunners being designated as guardians, it didn't really change the universe in any significant way. That was to come later with a singular decision. Fast forward, and for reasons not really explained, the precursors renegated on this decision. The mantle was retaken and instead given to the Forerunners' distant cousins, humanity. What happens next is crucial. What happens is the Forerunners decide to go toe-to-toe with their creators for this slight. They decide to go to war. Certain accounts state the attack was completely unprovoked and was rooted in jealousy and anger, while other accounts state the Forerunners were fully aware having the mantle revoked would result in their complete annihilation, as the precursors had engaged in this genocide before. This was the price of failure. The mantle was the gift and the curse. Everything to gain and everything to lose. Whatever reason you subscribe to is irrelevant. For the purpose of this tale, all you need to know is the end result, which was the near destruction of the precursors. The precursors that survived this massacre activated a sort of defensive mechanism where they transformed or reverted themselves into a form of dust in hopes to one day re-emerge and potentially take their place as the guardians again, via war or forming an alliance with humanity potentially. Or maybe it was just to live again. Whatever reason it was, an emergence did occur, but it was for neither of the reasons I just mentioned. That dust soon became corrupted, and any organic being that came into contact soon became corrupted, morphed into something unrecognizable, mindless shells, an infection that inflicted the mind and body and gave it one singular purpose: to feed and spread. Hence the creation of the parasitic flood. One other thing to note is, while there was no intention to create this, some precursors might have embraced the corruption as it occurred. The defensive mechanism essentially manifested itself into revenge.
We meet again, young one. I am the last of those who gave you breath and shape and form. I am the last of those your kind rose up against and ruthlessly destroyed. I am the last precursor, and our answer is at hand. And our answer is at hand.
What happens next is pretty simple. Chaos ensues, but it only happens on the outskirts of the galaxy, and that just happens to be the section humanity predominantly resides in, not the Forerunners. With the infection spreading rapidly and humanity now understanding the severity of the threat to the galaxy, they go to war, losing countless planets to the parasites. And unfortunately, any victory by the flood bolsters their numbers, and any victory by humanity still bolsters the flood's numbers. So it becomes a never-ending cycle of mutations and expansions. Humanity's response is cold and calculated. Relocate inhabitants of any celestial body while also completely glassing planets as they retreat. Sacrificing countless of innocent lives, a dramatic but necessary step in their eyes to ensure containment, to save the galaxy. Now here's the important bit. Their retreat itself resulted in humanity moving into Forerunner territory, which the Forerunners viewed as humanity expanding, infringing on their own space. Even more puzzling, they witnessed humanity destroying countless planets, destroying Forerunners. Taking up arms was not a difficult decision. Now, if the Forerunners were aware of the flood is not entirely known. There's a bit of ambiguity here. Some have suggested they had some inclination, but not how severe the situation actually was. Remember, the flood was predominantly in human territory. To them, the humans were simply using it as an excuse, for whatever reason, to cause trouble. To them, humanity had overstepped, making decisions by themselves. Okay, this highlights an issue with the logic in the lore for me. Or it just highlights the fact that the Forerunners always had some animosity towards the humans after the precursors chose them to lead. Or maybe the precursors as a group are just impulsive. Shoot first, ask questions later, maybe. Maybe humanity could have done a better job in actually communicating the situation to the Forerunners. Maybe they did and the Forerunners just chose to not listen. So many questions, and your guess is as good as mine. Regardless of the reason, our front is open. The Forerunners go to war with the humans, and humanity is now in a two-front war. They hold up well, and it's actually rather impressive. They were able to defeat the flood and push them out of the galaxy, but this came at a price. Didac, leading the Forerunners, was able to defeat humanity and dismantle this galactic civilization. And as punishment, they were regressed back to their basic levels on Earth. A complete reset, leaving the Forerunners as the most dominant race in the galaxy. And that concludes the role of humanity in the Halo universe. For now.